Thank you for taking the time to speak to Starburst magazine today. It's good to see you.
Of course, thank you for having me.
I just wanted to jump straight in, if that's okay. I have a couple of questions for you. One, I did hear that you are not necessarily the biggest horror movie fan. So it kind of made me wonder why you chose a horror film for your debut.
Well, actually, I wasn't the one who chose it. After I finished chemo, my manager, Sandy, told my producer, Suzanne De Laurentiis, because she knew her at the time, and she did a few projects with her before, and she said that I wanted to act. And Suzanne is from the Jersey area, and she is very much into like the New Jersey Devil and all that kind of stuff. So she always wanted to do this kind of film. So I guess that I gave her the opportunity to make this movie about the Jersey Devil. And she was like, okay, let's give her, let's make this movie for her as like a Make-A-Wish kind of project. And at first it was going to be like a short film, but then they wanted to, I guess, give me the experience of what the industry is like and being on set. So they made this into a full-length movie.
Fantastic. So how would you describe the film? You mentioned the Jersey Devil there, and that's obviously we know it's a horror. So how would you describe the film and your character specifically? Because it is quite an interesting story.
It is. So this film is about the Jersey Devil, and there is an RV crash in the Pine Barrens, and my cousin Kelsey, she is dragged off, and I'm trying to investigate what happened a year later. I'm a student college reporter writing for the newspaper, and that's my project. I'm trying to figure out if it's the Jersey Devil that dragged her off, or like what happened. So that's what I do.
Because it feels a bit like an old-fashioned film, perhaps something a bit more sort of maybe the 80s or something, because there's quite a few horror sort of cliches, for a better word, but used well, that are thrown in there. So you kind of you recognise little things, little familiarity things. Was that part of your thinking, or were you involved in that sort of idea of making it appeal to that sort of wider audience?
I mean, this film definitely appeals to all ages. And I wasn't at all involved with the writing process. My manager, Sandy, and a few other people were involved with the script. I definitely had my own input because I'm a perfectionist. I have my YouTube channel, and I make sure that everything is perfect with how I look and just everything I'm doing. So I was very pleased with how everything turned out on like the editing and production side. But for the scripts, I could definitely see how where your thoughts are coming from.
Because it has that sort of creature feature type thing, and yeah. I'm not going to give you spoilers away as to whether there's creatures, whether what happens, but it has that sort of 80s creature feature, which I thought was quite interesting. Was it with a lot filmed at night as well? Was it a tough shoot to do? Because I presume you didn't have that long either.
Yeah, so one of the 10 days, we had to cram in 10 pages of a script because we were a little short with time. So that was very difficult because I was exhausted, and we did that at night in the cold, in the woods, and it was very late. So, I mean, I pushed through, and everyone was really happy with how I did, but that was a tough few hours.
Yeah. Was it like there was a sort of on set, and I presume it was a bit cooler at night, obviously, so you stay, because you're not necessarily wearing the most clothing a lot of the scene, so it's running around and putting straight into the cardigans or the jumpers, or...
Yes, I was freezing.
Where did you film a lot of it then? Was it local to you?
It was in Glendale, California.
Oh, okay. But just made to look like the Pine Barrens and...
Yeah, because we didn't have a big budget for like flying back to Jersey, so we had to do everything in Glendale. And I give all the props to Dale Fabricard, the director, because he made the set look incredible. We had to pretend it was Jersey in Glendale.
So what? Because obviously you said that sounds like a tough shoot. What did you enjoy most about it then? You said it was made into the feature film to give you that whole experience of being involved in the production. What was the thing you enjoyed the most about making the movie then?
I think just seeing how the process is done, and I loved seeing how everything happened behind the scenes as well, because again, I do have a YouTube channel and I edit and film myself, so I I love seeing how everything happens in real time behind the scenes, and I love talking to my cast and crew. Everyone's so nice, and we rehearse the lines together like offset, and we just have like a great time together. And I think my favorite part was just like the adrenaline just kept us going, and we were all like, when we were all very tired, we were just saying random things that didn't even make sense, but I think we got some of those bloopers. It was really funny.
Has it given you, I mean, have you been bitten by the bug a bit now though, because obviously movies take quite a bit of time up and you have a lot of other things going on, so
Yes.
is it?
Well, I did have to set aside my YouTube videos. I pre-filmed all of them for that month, and I had to tell my followers that I am going to take a little break from TikTok videos and from doing my cover songs on my channel, and I'm going to be filming this movie. So I was like, stay tuned, because you are definitely going to want to see this.
So one thing that's always interesting, I think, when it's your debut film, because you've got experience being in front of the camera or being filmed, but obviously there are differences. But was there, when you knew you were going to be making a film, was there anything you went and looked at for influence or for to take inspiration from, either at films or specific actors? That, was there something that you looked at?
Yes, definitely. So actually, my producer Suzanne, she gave me amazing advice, and she was so supportive throughout the whole experience, and still is. And my brother, he also is a producer and director in the industry. He actually just released his docuseries on HBO called The Invisible Pilot, and he's big in the industry, and he gives me a ton of advice. So he, my producer, and a lot of other people give me advice on how to go throughout this industry. And I do watch other actresses in movies such as Julia Roberts, and I love watching Audrey Hepburn in her films, and Lady Gaga also. Before I filmed this movie, I also watched a lot of Grey's Anatomy.
But did you watch any horror though? Did you watch any horror to sort of get the, because you don't do a huge amount of screaming. There's not the scream queen sort of thing, but there is always the final girl thing, and that that horror movie convention. So was there any horror that you were asked to look at or take some inspiration?
Yes, definitely. And I watched it during the day because I'm terrified. So the coaches gave me a ton of movies to watch. I'm like, okay, thanks. So I was very scared. I'm not into horror at all, like before this. So this movie definitely made me more into horror films.
The one thing that interests me with you is obviously the makeup videos you do and through lockdown, and horror movies. I mean, a lot of obviously movies generally, but horror movies specifically have a great history of in-camera effects, of real makeup effects as opposed to CGI. Was that interesting for you, coming from that, having that experience, to coming onto a horror movie set where there's obviously going to be quite a bit of makeup?
Yes, definitely. It was quite an experience, especially with the cold blood, slimy blood dripping down me in the cold woods. It was very uncomfortable, but I am a makeup artist, so I did the natural makeup myself for like a regular like film camera, but then there were makeup artists on set for the special effects makeup, like with the blood and the dirt and all that. I can't do that because, first of all, that is another kind of makeup practice, and also it's disgusting. So there were people for that, but that was definitely a new experience for me.
Oh, well, that answers one of my questions. I was going to say, was that something that maybe intrigued you? But obviously, it's not.
Not really. It was frightening, also, but there was something really funny that happened. Like after I filmed the last scene, when I become crazy at the end, my manager was going back with me to the hotel I was staying at, and when I got out of the Uber, the Uber guy did not want to take her back to her hotel because they thought that she did that to me. He didn't know that I was in a movie. So I felt really bad for her, but that was really funny. But when I got into the hotel, everyone was looking at me really strange. I'm like, no, don't worry, no one did this to me. I'm in a movie.
Yeah, just carry explaining it all the way.
Yeah.
I just wonder, because it's the other thing I noticed is that you have a producer credit on it.
Yes.
On the film. Was that something as well to get you involved in the industry and to give you some experience? And I wondered as well, obviously you do a lot of in-camera thing, but you have experience with arranging things, like you said, editing or whatever. Is it maybe something behind the camera that would intrigue you going forward as well?
Yes, I definitely do want to do some stuff behind the camera in the future. I wonder when that will happen. I don't know. I hope to have some experience with that. But yeah, so because of me doing all these YouTube videos, and they knew that I edit my own videos and produce and direct everything, they definitely gave me a producer credit on the movie, which I'm very thankful for.
Do you was there any talk? I mean, I suppose it gives any spoilers or anything, but is it potentially a sequel to the film, or is it, because it is quite an open ending? Or
yes, it is. We are talking about it. We do hope to make some money from this because it just came out, but we are already talking about a sequel because there is a cliffhanger at the end, and everyone wants to know what happens. I'm like, I don't know. You'll have to find out.
Yeah, I've not written that bit yet.
No, I mean, I am taken away by the devil, but where do I go? That's the question.
This is it, exactly.
Yeah.
And what did you enjoy the most then? What was the biggest learning thing for you? What did you take from it? If you're set up to give you the experience, what did you learn the most, perhaps?
Probably just learning how to act off of other actors and take some of their energy because everyone was so talented, but I definitely took a lot of each person's energy, and we were all just like acting off of each other, so it was a lot of fun. But I think a struggle for me was learning how to cry on commands because I never learned how to do that before. So actually Dale, the director, he said, if you can't cry on command, we could just take a tweezer and pull a hair out of your nose. And I'm like, no, thank you. I will just take like 10 minutes and get into the zone. Yeah. I'm like, you're not touching my nose. Do not pull anything from me. So I was basically just thinking of like the movie ending, and I was just trying to get into a sad mood, and that really helped. And then I learned how to cry. It was harder at night though when I was more tired and cold.
So you've achieved so much at a young age. I mean, there's a couple of questions basically. Well, one is, what's the thing you're most proud of that you've done? I mean, because you've done so much, and obviously you've got so much more to do. But but up until now, I mean, is the one thing that drives you, that's giving you that confidence, and that you're most proud
of? Probably learning how to memorize a script in a short period of time because I'm dyslexic, and when I was in middle school, it was really hard for me to memorize a script in a short amount of time. So they gave me all the leads in the singing roles, and then I think I'm proud that I was able to push through the whole set experience right after I finished chemo. That was a struggle for me, but I pushed through, and I'm really proud of myself for doing that.
So I didn't necessarily want to dwell on the chemo thing. I didn't know whether you want to talk about that or not. But is that does it give you that sort of, as a motivation daily, just to keep doing, keep going, keep adding things to what you do, just to keep, because it's
yeah, definitely. I just wanted to show people that I'm strong and that I could push through, and that like I'm done. I was done after that, and I could do anything that I put my mind to. And I just want to show that to my followers and friends that like if there's a bump in the road, you could like that won't stop me from doing anything else.
Because that's what I was going to ask you as well, because obviously you do so much. It's finding that balance, and I wondered how you decide really to, if you have a plan that I'm going to do this week or these things this week, and then like you say, if you have a film shoot, that could take up your time for several weeks.
Right. So I was nervous about that because I did have some plans other than shooting the film when I was out in LA, but I managed with my schedule. So there was a schedule that went out. I think it was like twice a week that went out. I can't really remember right now, but it was twice a week. A big schedule went out of when we were going to be filming what line. So that was really helpful for me to figure out the rest of my schedule during the week.
Cool. The just a couple more questions, if that's okay. The one thing I was going to ask you, because you are an influencer, you're a YouTube star, you're a role model for a lot of people, and obviously at the moment there's a lot of media things about people, the whole cancel culture and all this kind of thing that goes on, and everything just seems to escalate very quickly. How important for you is it to be that strong role model, to obviously be careful what you do, obviously, but to be genuine in what you're doing as well? Because it's a balance, I would imagine, trying to make sure you're being you,
yeah,
but also you're giving the right impression. Like you say, you are a role model. You've got, was it 70,000 followers, and it's,
oh, I don't even know right now. Well, it just keeps going up, but
do you feel a pressure then?
Yeah.
Do you feel a pressure to be, that role model?
I do at times. I have to be really careful with what I put out there because I apparently am a big influence to young girls and boys out there. And I do have a large following, and people ask me all the time just advice on everything. And I have to be really careful with what I put out there and what I say because my followers, they don't have a lot of people that they could look up to or that they could get advice from. So I want to be that big sister, that person that could give them the right kind of advice. I'm very careful with what I say.
Because there's so much media influence for children and for everybody, isn't there now? There's so many ways you can access media and so on. It is a difficult one to balance, I would have thought.
And especially with like young girls on TikTok now, there's so much just like hate, and there's just a lot of like nasty things out there. So I want to be that person that puts positivity out there.
Okay. And good horror films are always going to be a welcome.
Right, exactly.
So what's next for you? I mean, you obviously busy, and we've said that. So what does your week, your month, your year look like to you? Is it more the same, or have you got new projects coming, or?
Well, I just released my debut single of the remake. I remade the song Catch Me I'm Falling from the 80s, and that is on all streaming platforms. And I re-recorded that with original singer Jade Starling, and my producer Suzanne De Laurentiis got me this opportunity for me, and I'm just like just so thankful for that because I always wanted to be a singer, and she thought that making this my debut single of like the remake of a hit 80s song would have my career take off, and so far it's doing pretty well. So that's out on all streaming platforms, and the music video is on my YouTube channel. But I also was just in a pilot comedy. It's called On All Fours, and that's coming soon. It's also produced by Suzanne De Laurentiis and Jeff Lazarus. It's based on his books, Dogtology and Catechism. It's about cats and dogs, and I had a small part in that.
So it's quite busy then going forward.
Yeah, pretty much.
You said that you always want to be a singer then. Is that something that maybe would take some precedence, do you think? going in the future, or is it just try your hand at everything and keep doing everything?
Well, I am trying to get my originals out there pretty soon, so we'll see what happens. But for now, that hit song is out there right now.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on Reed's Point.
Thank you.
It's an interesting film. I think it did remind me of some 80s holiday features, and there's always good fun to be had in that. It's didn't feel to take itself too seriously at times, which was good. So Sasha, it's been a pleasure speaking with you at last. So thank you very much. I wish you genuinely all the best. I think it's it's brave and great what you're doing. So
thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
You too. Bye.